Hi, I'm Trevor Crane, and we're going to talk today about how you can double your fees. So what I'm going to ask is that for the next 3 to 5 minutes while you're either watching this video or listening to this audio, that you interact and participate with me, because we're going to go over a very advanced training in just a few minutes to show you in this time frame how you can actually double your fees and earn more money from your clients. So here's the secret. Want the secret right now? You're going to have to charge more money. So we're going to, I know it's pretty obvious, but how can you charge more money to your clients, the existing clients that you already have? And the answer is going to be you need to find a way to create more value for your clients. So we're going to do a little exercise right here. Imagine whatever your product and service is right now and the existing rate that you actually charge, whatever that is. And if you're actually watching this, and you can write down the number right now, whatever it is, put it down on a piece of paper, write that number down, and now whatever it is, double it. So if you're not able to write this down, just still double it in your mind. Whatever that number is, double it again. So now you've doubled your rate twice. That's for whatever product or service that you want to focus on right now. So let me ask you a question. And I work with many business owners that go through this same process. Is right now with your existing clients, without adding any extra value, could you actually get that fee, that doubled and doubled again fee, without adding any extra value? And most times when I speak in front of groups, and I actually get to travel the country now, and I teach businesses, I teach franchisors, franchisees, and their employees to go ahead and find ways they can add more value to the services they provide so they can increase the impact and then the income that they actually create. So what I found is that without adding anything else, and you probably experienced this yourself, you probably couldn't, or you'd have very few clients that will pay you double or double that price for what you normally charge. So the solution is figuring out what value can you actually add to the services that you provide. So I'll give you a personal example. Years ago, I used to run a water sports business, and we take people out parasailing. So that's a boat that people would get on, and they would get strapped up into a parachute, and then we would reel them out and then reel them back in for this amazing ride. So for years, I kept my prices standard. I think we charged $50 for this ride. And finally, I worked with a consultant who gave me the same challenge to find out how we could actually charge more for the same service. And what we did was we ended up in a short period of time, I think it took 2 weeks to change our prices. We went from, instead of charging $50 per person, we charged $60 for a basic flight, $80 for a higher flight, and then $100 for our premium or elite flight. And what we actually did is we created a different psychological value on the different heights and the prices that went with them. And what I found, this is really amazing, because it took 2 weeks for me to make this transition. I was scared that my clients, the people that were on our boat, wouldn't be happy to pay more. In fact, I thought I would lose customers. The really amazing thing, and I've now experienced this time and time again in every business that you can imagine, people actually liked paying more. And we had to be in the right construct. We had to find a way to add more value. And in this case, we did it through the pre-frame of giving them more value for a higher flight. And we did so around the languaging and what they expected by what they were going to get from this experience. Now, from my perspective of a business owner, I made massive amounts of more profit without having to take much more of my time and absolutely no cost. But the perceived value from the client's perspective was vastly increased. So that's just one example. I don't know what the answer is for you, but now play this game with me and write down on a piece of paper or think in your head about what value you need to offer, or what value would you need to add to the services that you provide to get that fee. So take a minute right now and think about what else could you add to your product or your service to actually demand the higher price that you have on that piece of paper. Now this is going to force you to get creative, and I'll give you another example that's kind of you're going to totally relate to, and it's coffee. Years ago, before there was this big thing called Starbucks. Is that Starbucks? Before that, I remember that the coffee my grandmother used to drink when I was a little kid was Folgers Crystals. You remember Folgers Crystals? Well, anyway. And I was amazed. I mean, I think what's a cup of coffee? 10 cents? Well, here comes Starbucks, this little boutique type coffee company, and they're just selling the same product as coffee. Maybe they add milk and sugar now to the basic product. But how did they increase the value that they were giving their clients so that they could demand, what's a triple latte float caramelato thing? Right now they give it a cool name. They give a different name to what they're actually receiving. You now go to a place that you can hang out. They have free Wi-Fi. You can listen to music. You can download. I think you go there and you can, when you get a card, and every week or every time you can get some like free music that you can actually receive. I think Starbucks actually now sells more music than most music stores. So they figured out a way to create an environment that offered more value and demands more money for a typical 10-cent cup of coffee. So they found ways to get creative, and who would have thought that coffee and, the value of the environment would be worth $5 for a 10-cent cup of coffee? What is it? It's coffee beans and water and sugar and environment and everything else. So the question for you is, and have you done this exercise? If you haven't done this exercise, then you're not playing along. You need to write this down or think in your head and brainstorm and get creative about the extra value you can provide your clients and your customers by getting creative. It might be strategic partnerships. You may not need to do You may not have to do more work yourself. You may bring in other partners. Then you could collaborate and offer more value to your client on an ongoing basis. So I'll give you one more example. One of my clients is a financial planner, and she used to charge $200 for her services. Now, I tell you this whole story, but you're not going to believe me, because she added more value to what she offers on an ongoing basis. I guess I am telling you the story. I'm not going to be too detailed because you're not going to believe me. She now charges $15,000 to her ideal client. Instead of just going after anybody, she finds her ideal client and offers massive value to both their psychology on how they manage their money and as they pay attention to it, and also the strategies that they use to go ahead and grow their money. So she started at $200, and it took her a series of time to add the value so that she could create that impact in her client's life and in their bank account. They showed up. So I just challenge you to get creative, find a way that you can add more value, and you can double your fees. So this is Trevor Crane. I hope you got some valuable information here, and please, if you haven't done this yet, do the exercise so you can find a way to add more value to your customers.